Good morning and welcome to today's live show. It is Thursday. You guys know, just a quick announcement that tomorrow, this is my wife's weekend. Her birthday is this weekend actually, and we have a lot of stuff planned, but I won't be able to be live on Friday. I will still be dedicating some time to finishing some stuff up as far as the course goes with some videos, so that's great. So we're still going to get some work done on Friday, but overall just going to be focusing on family, so I apologize for that. But a 2-day break, we're okay with that, and then we can come back on Sunday and get you guys some weekly expected moves and things like that, which is very, very cool. So today we talked about last night how we've been talking about this the whole time. Can the 2-hour confirm up? Once that 2-hour confirms up, the direction becomes a lot more simple, and then we just watch out for if anything goes wrong. And that's the big thing. You're just watching out for if anything goes wrong in the near term. As the 30-minute goes more and more positive, yeah, we can see this. Maybe we go up to these levels, then we back off to actually curl back up. And we still want to be aware that we could see some kind of random news, right? People are reacting very heavily to news. And the buying here, it really is not the best, okay? This is not the best buying to be considered in. Now, you are seeing a breakout move right now. If we're able to hold positivity today, I think that would be a good thing. So right now, I just wanted to bring up some levels to you and talk about some data. As of this morning, the data we did get, initial jobless claims coming out at 219K, expected to be 213, 215. Previous was revised to 208K there. And that's all we really get for today as far as that goes. But tomorrow's going to be a big day. I'm sorry I can't be here for it, but just be paying attention at 7:30 before market open. You will get non-farm payrolls and unemployment. And that's going to be a big deal. Looks like non-farm payroll is supposed to tick down a little bit, and unemployment is supposed to stay pretty flat, just so you are aware at the moment. As for today, there are some levels that we need to pay attention to, and I'm really going to focus today on 600 and 608. 600 and 608, some important levels there. If you want to see those, it's pretty much put there by your daily expected moves, but to add some credibility to it, we also look at today's options, right? We just see, okay, 600 is the biggest put wall and 608 is the biggest call wall at this moment. Now, if we go down the line just to focus on maybe a bigger level, because right here you have about 16.3K contracts there, but we can look down a little bit and see the open interest here, 42.3 thousand. So 590, I still want to keep that on your radar. You see how 600 is the lowest point of these three. So 590 or 595 is something really good to pay attention to. But I would say you just want to keep in mind that 600 level at this point. So now that we know all that, we're like, okay, as long as everything keeps going right, that's fine and dandy. The only problem right now is the dollar's getting a decent bounce. I don't think it's anything to be like overly dramatic about, but we did just get some news, and overnight you saw that dollar bouncing. So we'll see if that's affected at all by into the market. We'll see if that happens. You have gotten a 2-hour to confirm up. There's no 2-hour divergence or anything like that, but we'll see if this thing can get going. And the 4-hour chart, if that one curls up, I'd be a little bit more on edge, because that would most likely take you past the 5, and then that would say, hey, this is going to be a higher low, which means we might end up testing that high, making a new one, unless we get a lower high, because that is a little bit deep into negative territory. So we'll see. But it would add some credibility to a pullback. Now, one thing to note here, as I switch this one back over to the SPY, put it on a 30-minute, and then we go over to volatility for a moment, is volatility, we never confirm the signal, right? I mean, overall, you saw that violation at the end of the day. So the video that we put out on Patreon, we were saying, hey, yeah, just watch if this thing violates, that'd be a good thing. But you're just noticing that that barely violated, and so it did not end up playing out, right? We saw this little lackluster bounce overnight, and then it curls back down. So as of right now, we're just paying attention to anytime still the 2-hour could curl up for just a nice flowy move to the upside. And actually, I'm going to pay attention if this is a slightly higher low, right? We got this slightly higher low, slightly higher low. Could be happening, but we never made that new high. So you would be most likely in some kind of consolidation at this point. Just some big swings in that consolidation, especially as volatility. I guess consolidation is not the right word. It's more like, hey, we're seeing big swings turn into medium swings, turn into maybe small swings, turn into smaller swings, and then we can see something. Or are we just going to break down? And that's kind of what we're getting at here. So breakdown would look like this in the market, right? We just tear through. The other side would be like, oh, okay, we do this, we see a little volatility. We do this, we see a little volatility. We do this, and then we see the big volatility move come in later on. So Just some things to be aware of, right? I don't think there's much to say as far as like traps right now. I think you do have a moment where the market is positive. The dollar is positive right now and overnight. So if these things are positive and the dollar is positive at the same time, and then we go look over and people are really, really, really taking calls, we can read into it a little bit and wait for confirmation still to make sure those things are happening. As of right now, the CPC at 0.79, the reading from yesterday. So we'll see how that PCC opens up in a little bit. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Hopefully you have your coffee ready. Hopefully you've already left a like on the stream, and hopefully you are ready to go. Hopefully you have your plan for today, right? Making a plan. If I have a trade going, I always have my plan in my head, man. I always have that plan there. But good morning. I hope we all have a good one. IWM, good morning, Lucas. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Eden saying happy birthday to the wifey. That's always good. We'd love to hear that. Happy birthday to the missus. Thank you, Chad. Appreciate you so much, buddy. Happy birthday, Danny. Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate you, buddy. Sometimes when I tell people I'm married to Danny, they think I'm a little flimsy, if you know what I'm saying. I have to be like, no, it's a girl. How'd you get a baby? Well, we adopted. No. A dude? Is it that dude Chris? I should have her change her name to that dude Danny. She's wonderful, but apparently I just fell asleep really, really hard and took up all the bed last night, so she's a little mad. Thank you, Bernie. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate that. Now let's go click through some names here. Let's just look at a 30-minute. Let's not try to dig too deep, right? Let's just really look at things on the 30-minute simply and see what we can find. Well, the Qs, we already know this. A little bit more positive than the SPY. So once again, looking for retests, right? Retests aren't a bad thing. It's just if we start to curl over 2-hour charts, that's where it gets worth. IWM breaking to the upside. This is kind of a good thing. Kind of a interesting thing. I think you do have this consolidation for a while, but we always know when we don't make that right shoulder and we see some kind of move, what ends up happening? Well, a lot of the time we'll dip down again a little bit deeper. So I guess if you want this to remain positive for a long time based on the 30-minute, you'd really want this to start to get those lower highs a bunch, right? You'd want to see a nice waviness to this, right? We would want to see this start happening on the MACD. That way it's like, okay, we see a push higher, let's go grab some buyers. But raise the floor, right? Raise the floor a little bit. So that's what I'd be looking for IWM. If it gets too excited and you see this fade, I would not sleep on some kind of right shoulder popping up over here for IWM, just to be aware. DIA, very good dip down, right back up, right? We see how this is just right back up. This is not the correct move, actually. God dang it. This week is so crazy. Come on, Lucas. What the heck is it? What? Let's give you guys this. There we go. Let's do a downside move too. Or 37.42. Okay, cool. So we see where that would get us to, but we also see like what could form here is a little pullback, right? This is where those little pullbacks can really help a move get to an area like comfortably. Because if you keep doing this, you invite that bigger pullback to happen. And if the selling piles on, right, that could be a bad thing. But yeah, you don't really want this, I think, to get too excited. If it does get excited, you want to see quick little retests all the way up until you see that kind of consolidate in some way. But DIA trying to break through, going up to resistance right now, right? This held as resistance, resistance, resistance multiple times on this 30-minute. So something really nice here would just be that quick retest of the 5, literally just that. Just this little curl down and curl back up, and this thing is geared up and ready to go, in my opinion. Now you can see the 2-hour curling up into positive territory, so positivity would be the most expected thing. But what I'm talking about here is, okay, we didn't beat this high. And this is very good to talk about it on DIA because DIA gives us the hints, right? That's great. DIA gave us the hints here, right? Do you guys remember that? That was awesome. So what we're paying attention to now is the 2 hours finally getting that curl up. It's not a rejection divergence anymore. If we would go up rapidly really quick here, and then we do that, and you curl back down on the 2 hour chart, that's what I'm saying. If this dip down isn't just a retest that buys back up, it dips down further, you have that 2 hour confirming divergence. And the problem with that is now you have made the new high. You would have daily divergence at the high. If we go over to a daily chart, you're just gonna see on your MACD real quick, and I know the market's opening, but we gotta, I think, talk about it because it's here. You see that divergence there, very steep there on your MACD, pretty good there on your RSI. So this is the kind of worrisome thing if people are just randomly going to get bullish all of a sudden. It's not necessarily the best idea. I'm not saying it's not the best idea for a trade. I'm saying if you're going to get bullish and say this is where I would like to invest, there are a lot of risks if the DIA gets up to this weekly expected move, in my opinion. It can always work those risks out, but we're going to pay attention if the thing that looks risky confirms, right? That's all I'm trying to get at there. TLT, sitting up at higher levels. The important thing for TLT is noticing just where it's at from the weekly expected move, right? People trading TLT do not see this thing going much higher than this week. And it's funny because we're going right into some data tomorrow morning, some pretty important data. So you are reaching weekly expected moves for TLT. Overall, this is great. You made that double bottom, right? And then you curled up, right? You got rid of the divergences by holding up better, making a double bottom or a slightly higher low, and then you just bursted to the upside. That's great. But now you're overbought again, so you almost have to do that constantly until you go through some kind of, consolidative period, and then you gear up enough liquidity to see another bigger move, right? That's kind of what was happening here, right? We were kind of gearing up in this area. And then what happens to see a big move? Well, we're in there for some time. We see a couple of fake outs maybe, and then break. That's great. Now you want to do that, maybe see another higher move, then create that floor again, then break, right? If this is going to keep heading to the upside, that would be a great way to do it in my opinion. 2 hours curled up, everything looks good. I don't see reversal signals from the 10-year yield. I don't see reversal signals from TLT, but this is a pretty upward move, so data can really mess with this stuff and you're at a weekly expected move. Apple, this is very cool because Apple, we were talking about, are we going to make some kind of base here? We can do that with a higher low. We can do that with a divergence. We are noticing the higher low showing its face, but can we take back the 5? That's going to be the ultimate thing. Can we curl up a 2 hour chart? That's going to be the big deal here because that 2 hour chart confirming up tells you, yes, now the probabilities are leaning towards positivity, right? Breaking out of this, completing the head and shoulders, seeing a sizable move up, right? Seeing this thing maybe even past 250 and go test those highs, maybe fill a gap, right? But you need that 2 hour to confirm up. In the state of everything right now, we'd have to see an uptrend for a little bit of time for that to happen. So you would need time for that to happen. And if we just keep making another upward move real quick and we keep seeing divergence, there's just a lot of risk out there. As we see the open here, we're gonna keep clicking around as people ask to see more stocks, but we noticed that the SPY ended up in the upward direction. The Qs not doing it, man. They're not able to do it. IWM looking the best to start off the morning, then comes in second with the SPY, then comes in third with the DIA, and the worst performer is going to be the Qs, at least for the open, guys, okay? This has been an overall pretty damn good start for the Qs, right? They are more positive than the SPY. Yeah, if we're going to load. And actually, they're coming to pretty much same points now. I think they're at the almost same readings there. All right, guys, let's see what you guys are chatting about. Let me get this up on my other charts. JP Morgan, I mean, I did hear about some warnings from some banks. I think it was Morgan Stanley put out something, some kind of warning about a correction or something like that. I don't know. That's the only thing I know about that. But JP Morgan, a very good one to constantly go look at, just to remind ourselves of what's going on here. You're overall squeezing to the upside, right? We created that. Do you see how when you create that sideways? Sideways helps a lot, and then you see, oh yeah, there's all the divergence, but if that 2 hour still confirms up, that's how squeezes work, right? It still keeps the positive trend. It's going to show positivity. Most likely this spike down helped a lot, right? Most likely this spike down was to allow some of those bigger buyers to step in, and then you're able to hold at higher levels to break to the upside. But I just want you to know, I like when the divergences actually show on the MACD and RSI at the same time. So I'm going to take this point right here, and I'm going to pay attention to this, And if this curls down early, I'm saying, hey, that's the actual divergence right there. It's showing on both indicators. So for me, that's what I'll be paying attention to at this moment. I almost exited out of my streaming platform. That would have been bad. So that's just something to watch. Now, if you look at the daily scale, you're still looking at this going, damn, this thing's still curling up. Okay, awesome. That's it. It's like you don't really, I mean, you have flat divergence if you count way over here. I don't think you want to count that too much. But I just think you're like, okay, I'm waiting for a pullback. And when that pullback happens, we're probably going to react down to something like 250. I think 250 is a great level. If it's going to be lackluster and complicated and move sideways for a bit, you might see it just like this and go to 260 and then curl back up, right? But if you really look at this, it looks like it has another regular trend to move higher for now, like if it would experience a pullback. But you see what I mean, it's very nice. It's like it gets the run, it gets the initial run, it makes that sideways price action, gets another run, then vomits. It gets a run, makes that sideways price action, gets another run, then maybe vomits, right? So we'll see what goes on with it. I just think a daily pullback is easy to wait for. You took a chance? Okay, grab ass. We're gonna look at this for you. Oh goodness, I think this isn't like the worst decision in the world. I will say that. I wouldn't like say, oh, I'm super against this. And the reason for it is right away what's on your screen. And I'm just being honest, grab it. Like this is the only thing that I'm like, there's still daily divergence here. There is something going on with AMD, and this is more why I was talking about like this would convince me more like I would be thinking about this, just the state of the market. I don't want to do this, just to put that disclaimer out there. I don't want to do this because of the state of the market right now. I'd rather be trading the market than investing in the market personally. I think there's very good volatility. I think we have good swings back and forth. So I just wanted to put that out there. But AMD looks more like if I was going to do something with it, it would almost be an investment at this point. I mean, look at the monthly starting to get down by the center line, right? Look at the weekly chart here. The weekly chart, if you really look at this thing, it's kind of slowing down, right? We're starting to hit those bumps in the road a lot. We're going into the breakout area from the overall massive move. I mean, if you really pay attention to this is why we marked this off. Right, you see that breakout little moment here? That's where that happened. That's where this run started. Isn't that crazy? That's where this started. How big was that run? Let's really look at that. Let's see how big that run is from the actual breakout moment, which would be right there with the wick, all the way up to the high, 103%. Okay, 103% in about a half a year. Okay, so we're paying attention to that, and we're going, well, this thing's beat up for a long time. The weekly is starting to see those bumps in the road over and over and over again. We don't necessarily have divergence, but we have a ton on the daily scale. So the weekly could see some kind of upward move. This means maybe I want to invest in it for like maybe a month, maybe two. But if that monthly would curl up by the center line, it would say, hey, potentially, 12 to 24 months of positivity could come for AMD. But the thing that's stopping me, right, I'm going to give you the other side of the coin, because I'm an honest guy. I can't just tell you one side. The other side is the state of the actual SPY in the Qs is directly opposite of AMD right now. Okay, the state of the SPY in the Qs is directly opposite to AMD right now. We have an extremely high up daily with a bunch of daily divergence. We have an extremely high up monthly. So that reason alone, I think, as far as investing goes, as far as just shares instead of options, might be, in my opinion, what I would lean more towards in that situation. And then I can just say, hey, if this daily divergence plays out, I can maybe hold on to this for a couple of months and then make sure nothing's going wrong. That was a long answer, but I feel like AMD people needed to hear that. And it's great that it's after earnings now. Tesla had some weak European sales. Pablo, I'm only worried about DIA if we make the rapid upward move. If we back off from here, I'm okay with it. I'll still pay attention to it, but I think like this failing is a lot less likely than this failing. I think this would be more likely for some kind of trap. I think that this is where we'll pay attention in case it is a trap, but I think it might just end up being some kind of retest at that point, right? There's a big difference. But we'll see. We have to, we can't tell the future. So if this still does all this, creates the 2-hour divergence and the daily divergence, and then confirms and isn't able to hold up in this big block right here, well, then we probably need to pay attention to that, right? We probably need to be like, ooh, these things are confirming down. Oh, what's the dollar doing? What's the dollar doing? What's the SPY doing? What's the Qs doing? What are big stocks within the DIA doing? Things like that. Meta, I think Meta's bound to pull. I still think that it has one chance of another upward move here. I don't want to be fooling around. I just want to say you're above the 5. You're still in a positive trend. And look what keeps happening. Dink, dink, dink. Right, this is where it's very hard to short, but you're starting to see an area where it's like, okay, weekly expected move might give me a good hint. The only thing is I usually like to wait till it goes to a monthly expected move. And I think it has a higher up monthly expected move for Meta right now. But if all these things are created and then you just see a daily cross down, I mean, that's pretty much what you're looking for is daily pullback. I really like the levels of 660 and then all the way down towards 630 and then 617 to 682. That little zone in there is nice. I mean, it's bound to pull back eventually. It really is, but it's kind of hard to short. So, maybe if you're like me and a couple people yesterday, hey, I saw the confirmation. I'm going to take it because it was at a weekly expected move. But if this 30-minute curls up, I'm managing risk, I'm managing, and then I might get back in later. I think this is, like, at least at this time, if someone was thinking about it, at least you're talking about it when there's divergence close to the center line, right? Not these, well, actually, once you get here, you start to look at it, right? Anywhere in this area, you start to look at it, but that's the importance of longer out expirations or managing risk. AMC, starting to see that positivity. GME, very interesting. Hey, Patreon members, where's GME right now? Where's GME right now? Is that at an important line this week or something? I don't know. What up, Duranto? Cuckoos, I buy, it depends on the pricing. So the meta pricing was a little bit higher. I don't want to risk too much money in a trade right now, but I think I could get, when I bought it, it was about, I think it was 400 per contract or something like that. And I only grabbed 2 of those. And then I have a little bit extra on the side that I'm willing to allocate towards the trade. If we see another swing up and I decide, if it's like quick and I decide to scale in again, or if I want to get out and then get in with more contracts at a lower price. Below it, so things can go nuts now. Exactly. Okay, so there's 2 sides to this coin. This area right here, losing this little area that we're losing right now is a big deal. If you lose that, you can see crazy things to the downside. But there's only a 32% chance to see that. You actually have a 68% chance now by Friday to end back above the level that we just gave up for GME. So the better percentage is saying we bounce from these lower levels, but 32% chance to see something crazy. So we better see reversal signals, right? But it's just a fun little thing to note. I missed that, but he's right. It's a massive, what is it? What's it GME is? Yeah, okay. I mean, I guess if you look at a weekly and you decide that cups can be made, I guess anywhere. I mean, I guess right here's fine. Like, yeah, you could say cup and handle. The weekly chart would prove you right. The only thing that's scaring me is like this weekly could just go negative. But let's see if, the thing that bugs me about a lot of, I'll just say one thing that bugs me about GME or AMC streamers, trader, whatever. First of all, you notice I don't use a ton of indicators, right? I have a few. I like the way Bollinger Bands look. I don't really utilize them that often or anything for a trade, right? I have my 5 reasons. But what I noticed was they literally, at least the big popular ones, they literally have like 40 indicators, like 40 indicators. And that way, if it goes like this, they have an indicator that says whatever their narrative is. And then it goes like this, they have an indicator that says whatever their narrative is here, right? They're always using one of the 40 indicators to say something bullish, to say something bullish, to say something bullish, to say something bullish, to say, it doesn't matter where you are. They're going to find the one indicator that says something that could be read into as bullish, and that way people watch the video. I don't like that. I think that is super dishonest. And to tell people that, yes, this is a cup and handle and it has to bottom out now with no bottoming out signals, it's very, very sketchy in my opinion. That's all I'll say on it. You got to be careful. If you know, like we've said this on the channel before, more information does not always mean better trading. Right? What have a lot of people said about my trading or my course that has helped them? Oh, it really simplified things for me. The simpler you can make trading, the more clear you can make trading, the easier it is. If I need 40 indicators to tell me 40 things and those are 40 reasons to take a trade, I'm never going to take a trade. GME about to touch 200 EMA on the daily. I hope it's a good amount of support there, Cheese Chaser. I do. I don't think we've touched the 200. We haven't touched the 200 for GME, and it was on the daily, right? Yeah, daily. We haven't touched the 200 in a long time. Oh, that's an SMA. We haven't touched the 200 in a while. So there you go. Like, look at these. We kind of almost did. You see these moments like we almost do. We don't really. We almost do. We do here. But you really don't see very often you touch directly on it. And it is like a zone. I always treat it like a little zone. Like, I don't ever see it's like an exact line in the sand. But I would say, like, hey, there's support at the 200. If you want to build up over time, this is probably how you do it, right? Just like every other stock. We're going to look at it just like every other stock and say, hey, a head and shoulders right there would be a great way for GME to head higher. Like, I hope it's good, but is a stock touching the 200 good enough for me to buy, to just say, yeah, that's my 5 reasons right there. You guys know what a 200 does, right? How, like, does this line mean support right away? Is this like a weekly expected move? Are there already activity going in here that you can really utilize? The 200 is a basic line to show you where that averages out, right? But it still needs buyers to step in, right? So you need to see that reaction off the 200, not just, oh, the 200, because what if the reaction is, oh my God, we're crossing the 200, now get out. You have to see buyers step in here. This is a random, this really is, at the end of the day, this is a random line tracking math. But what does it take for the stock to go up? Buyers. That's it, right? It's not like a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think it's good to understand, like, that white line does not mean anything. It just gives you a visual representation of where buyers could step in. Oh yeah, oh my gosh, I was looking at this yesterday, actually. I was looking at that yesterday and I was like, oh God. And this is why I think the dollar is really gonna struggle here and why those yields have to come down. I mean, if our yields are really going up while all the Japanese stuff's happening, it's like, shit, that's unwinding, man. And we're on light volume kind of here for the SPY. And we're on really light volume for the GME and AMC, man. Oh no. We're gonna put volume up today. These aren't bad spikes. Oh boy, hope everyone's having a great day. I'm about to have a great weekend. GME been looking like a desert, so dry. Bro, it is. It's kind of soaking up, isn't it? It's just like, I think the thing is, people are acting like it's absolutely dry, unless I'm mistaken. I'm gonna go look real quick on these charts here. Actually, I'll look on these since it's already got volume up. But I was looking at this yesterday, and I was going, I mean, yeah, it's dried up, but you're still seeing, like, for a stock like GameStop in a downtrend, right? You're still seeing that 3.5. Now, the thing you'd more look into is, like, are you seeing the buy orders directly get routed to dark pool while the sell orders hit the lit exchange, right? That's what you'd look for manipulative behavior. It still costs them money to do it, but that is a way for them to kind of push off those buy orders for a bit. So I haven't looked into that. I just wanted to point that out, but that's what I would look for if I was looking for some sketchy behavior, if you will, maybe some illegal behavior. Actually, I don't think it's even illegal, but I'd be looking for which orders are getting routed right now. But just a note, remember we're at that weekly expected move, 68% chance to bounce, and it looks like we're trying to get a little bounce action. Let's go, dude. I'm down. Yeah, just wanted to point that out. If you guys can point that out, if you want to go research it right now, that would be awesome. You can do that. The moment I see divergence on the VIX, I'm in. I mean, technically, if you go to a 15, you got it. If you go to a 15, you got it. No, the thing with me is just like looking how tight this is. I think you're bound to see a pullback soon, but you know, it could still distribute down. I don't want to be like 100% there. I'll leave the 1% chance thing, right? But if we really look at this and we just go like this, we're going, okay, well, this thing is the tight zone, right? So throughout these dips down, you don't see it. You see it get tight slightly, right? In here it was more tight, you experience a little reaction. In here really tight, you experience a big reaction. In here now, not very tight, obviously not tight. Now you're like, okay, we are either flushing or moving to the upside with some kind of pullback, right? So I agree with you. I don't really see a good enough signal to get behind besides like I would say that would be just like a risk to reward type of deal, right? You would look at it more like a risk to reward and say, hey, the reward is a potential uptick for a slight moment in volatility. The risk is we break through the daily expected move and keep seeing upside and this thing flushes. So I'd keep that in mind. What will I do when GME squeezes? I will watch until the money is a value that I like, and then I will sell it. I am a trader. I do not hold on to any company for a long time, but maybe GME will be one I hold, but if I buy that thing low and then sell it high, that's what I do for a living, so... GME will never squeeze again. Hey, if it doesn't, I'm just holding on to shares. I'm down with the slow melt up. Cool either way. I just do option plays sometimes. What's the risk to reward on LT? Well, it's hard to say risk to reward. It's kind of like the reason that GME's risk to reward is pretty good, and why volatility, same kind of thing. It's just because people are really you're seeing everyone talk about how bad it is, and you're just like, well, if you're someone who just understands it's sitting on a bunch of cash, the risk is they do bad things with the cash. That's pretty much it. The risk is they make bad business moves. But you're dealing with Ryan Cohen, who actually is one of the top Apple holders, right? He's one of like the best traders or investors of our generation. So I'm like, if I wanted to bet behind a CEO, I'd bet behind a young guy with a good attitude who doesn't even take a check, who is proven to be one of the best investors of our generation. So I just don't see the terrible risk there. I understand the risk, but that's it. Jimmy buys Berkshire Hathaway. I mean, you never know. They might buy like Oxy. They could do whatever they want. They could turn into like an investment firm if they want. All right, volume just distracts me. I'm sorry, but all right, let's look around. Let's see. Meta, are we making the next 30-minute move up? We see this, we're going, okay, that 30-minute move up might be coming. Maybe we make that divergence by the weekly expected move. We'll find out eventually. This is where I have to take into consideration that I might need to manage some risk. What the heck? What the heck is going on here? Huh. Strange. Why are you looking good all of a sudden? Why are the options going? Okay, they went a little nuts just for a second. I was like, okay, someone probably placed one big order. Just mess with the AMC ones. Tesla rose to your right and the stock is over. Coming close to my stop. Yeah, so Tesla, you got to be worried. This is the bad thing. This is a really bad thing for Tesla. I just can't be dishonest with you. If you are looking at Tesla right now, this is not necessarily something that you wanted to happen today. We talked about Tesla in the video last night. We talked about how that 30-minute divergence could show up quick, and we were looking for the quick 2-hour divergence here, and you're wiping out those signals as of now. So keep that in mind. If we're wiping those out, where could we end up towards? We could go 10 points lower before we really see some support. Now, if you were part of Patreon, you're paying attention to weekly expected moves, you might understand some things going on here, which is Tesla's outside of a weekly expected move, but you always run the risk that this is going to see something crazy, right? Tesla's not necessarily the big dogs in politics favorite thing right now. And usually a stock needs big dogs in politics behind it, like that Nancy Pelosi, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's got to be behind you. She's got to have your stock. I mean, ask NVIDIA. NVIDIA saw a big drop, but overall, NVIDIA's benefited a lot from that over time. Maybe this thing does cross up. We'll see. But yeah, Tesla, I think you just got to treat it seriously. And then you got to be like this. And this is where trading like water is a fine thing. If I think there's risk of this dropping more, and you're at bottom Bollinger, you could still get those little reactions. It's just you just got one. Do you see how you drop off? You go to bottom Bollinger, and then you retest that little blue line right there, the 5, and then you drop again. That is usually where bears will try to make their first attempt, is right at that 5 after you test bottom Bollinger. Right? And we see that on the bull side as well. Like, you'll see it, sometimes it gravitates to the 9, but overall, you get to top Bollinger, you gravitate into that area, and then you see the next run, then you gravitate into that area, then you see the next run, then you see that quick little turn down to test the 5 again, then you keep going higher, then you start to lose it, right? And you start to do the opposite. So this is just something to keep in mind. Tesla, most likely we're going to see 357.78 pretty quick. Like, most likely. And this is where you just go, okay, we're at bottom Bollinger. If we find support, do I see any 2-hour divergence now? Well, we're kind of wiping it out right now. So that's kind of a problem. It doesn't mean it can't come back, but it's, do I want to hold on to this right now and hope that it comes back? Or do I maybe want to be out of this right now and then say, yeah, if it comes back, I might lose a little bit of value there, but I might be able to be in at a safer, less risky moment because I've allowed those buyers to show me the direction. That's all. Those are the type of decisions that I go through all the time. Hey, do I want to take profit on this, or do I want to let it run all the way to the move? Well, it's good enough money, so that means that if it's good enough money right away, okay, I can take profit and leave some runners, right? Decisions like that are just like this one. Do I want to assume more risk here? Do I want to hold on to a stock that is falling and has fallen for a long time? Or do I want to maybe get rid of that and then see if that turns back around just in case something bad happens? And then if that turns around, yeah, I might lose my price a little bit, but I'll feel a lot safer. And that's the thing. My risk will seem a lot better. That's all. I mean, I hope that I hope in some way that was helpful. I genuinely do. Like, I hope in some way that you're understanding what you're kind of smelling what I'm stepping in. SPY 2-hour divergence. SPY doesn't have 2-hour divergence as of right now. You don't really have it. You could have said maybe at this area, but that's overall a lower high. So you're looking for another lower high here. You make another lower high here, not one that matches almost these highs, actually. You make a weak one, ooh, you can go lower and you can break through the channel, and then you might be heading directly towards a monthly and then see that thing bounce. And then we'll talk about things down here. Right? We're aware of the risks. Just to be aware, I just drew that. You're probably like, holy that's really bad. That's not the most probable thing as of right now. Unless we start to see volatility turn around, we see that maybe the yields go up or the dollar start going up dramatically, or we get hints, right? We can look at things like HYG. We notice what? That's rolling. Not a good sign. We look at HGX. That's still up. We'll see if that's rolling. VIX, is that curling up? We'll see. It has that little divergence right here. It does have it on the RSI. We'll see. But the 2 hour that I'm more talking about, it won't really be visible up here. We most likely will see, like, if it goes up to here quickly. I'm just paying attention anytime this daily crosses down. Whether that's here and now and goes like this all of a sudden, or whether that's one more push higher and then we fall down, or whether that wipes it out and then we see a divergence all the way up here. Right? I'm open to all kinds of scenarios. It's just right now, the bullish ones are the most likely according to the indicators. Now we're going to look for those trap things, and that's it. Snow's pounding on you. Oh no. Oh no. I do not like the snow. Oh no. Yeah, just some bad things. I think it's okay. Let me look at 10-year. Let's look at XLU. XLU's dropping off very hard. Volatility's trying to base out. Very weak try, but it's trying. IWM completely flipped back around. I mean, this is interesting. Let's do something like this. Let's do... God damn it. Why does this always happen? Nah, whatever. It's okay. So SPY starting to give up a little bit. VIX starting to turn around a little bit, right? HYG falling off a little bit. 10-year yield starting to gain a little bit of ground. We're just watching. We're chilling. We're going, okay, if this fails, it fails. If it curls down and curls right back up, okay. Yeah, home builders are screwed. You have BlackRock. By the way, I watched some housing market stuff recently, like this morning. And I was watching it, and the guy I like to watch, I love his content, I think it's great. He was pointing out what BlackRock is selling their homes for that they bought in, say, 2022 to 2024. And they sold their home recently in Florida. They sold a home for 27% less than the average value, actually than the value of the home. And it's about 20% less than all the values in that neighborhood and surrounding neighborhoods as well. So you're looking at a time where those type of things can actually really affect the prices of the homes around them, because those people think their homes are worth $450,000, and then someone has a bigger home than them that they sell for, say, $360,000 or $350,000. Then all of the values of those homes start to taper back. They start to taper back, and so I think you guys should watch him. I think he's great if you're really looking for, just if you're interested in the housing market in general. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's great. I think Tesla can bounce here soon. I think it can. I think it can bounce at any time it wants because it's outside of a weekly expected move. But I'm just worried that it needs to go test something first, like get down to that 357.78 first, right? Because technically, if you're counting this as some kind of head and shoulders and you're pulling this down to say where that could have formed, and then you're pulling it down to the lows here, you're going, ooh, okay, 330, right? If that fully plays out, that's the thing. Right now, though, you're wiping out divergences. So this means that you are very likely to see another retest of the 5 and lower prices again, just so you're aware. You would need big buyers to step in right here. I'll be sitting, waiting, wishing you believe in superstition. Dang, man, what is this doing? if this let me do. This is so frustrating sometimes. All right, whatever. We're gonna scratch that for now. We're gonna wait till end of day now. Kind of lame. Yeah, so some things that should be a little bit of warning flags would be things like utilities. I think utilities is something that you should follow at this point. I think you're seeing that not get too good of a move. You're seeing that kind of like wonky, very volatile, but still that buying pressure not adding up to a ton, right? Not adding up to a ton. This could just be the 2-hour crosses down and this makes another downward move. We take out these lows. So if that happens to the market, that's not a good thing. HGX, if this starts to fade, well, I'd be paying attention. Well, HYG is already starting to roll here on the 30-minute. We'll see if that's able to cross down through the 5, but notice that HYG coming down to start the day. Very interesting there. So we'll be paying attention. And look at this, PCC comes out, 0.688. People are very, very bullish. Now that the dollar's still up there, right? We can go through that little 30-minute pullback. We'll see if that goes negative. But you do have a scenario where a trap could be set today now. The trap could be right here. It could trail up like this on light volume, right? Trail up to here, and then you see volatility come in, right? But we're looking right now because volatility itself showing that little tiny divergence right here. Tiny, tiny, tiny. Tiny, tiny, tiny. Right? It's very difficult, and this would be very crazy if this little signal here caused big volatility. I'm not leaning towards that. I got to read into the signal for what it's worth. Right? I can't sit here and say this is a signal you'll see all the time before volatility goes through the roof. That's just not the truth. The truth is you see this type of signal when you get a little 2-hour move that fails. Possibly, yeah, the first reaction is always good to pay attention to, and then you look for traps by the end of the day, right? Why is the first reaction in the morning always what you pay attention to? Well, because that's when people get tricked, right? That's throughout the day is most of retail. Throughout the morning is seriously retail. Throughout the day, you're seeing mostly retail. Towards the last hour of the day, that's when the big players show up. So if this move is up and you're noticing, oh, the dollar's up while that's up, well, that means during retail hour, you're noticing the dollar is up and the market up at the same time, which means this could be, and if all this happens intraday and people get overly bearish, that could be bad. It would actually be better for market makers to sit the price up here and let people either get really bullish or really bearish. And then by the end of the day, say, what did they do? They all went bearish? Okay, bullish for a moment, you know? Starting Netflix. Let's go look at Netflix as well. Netflix is interesting. I think it's going to be. I think you know, for myself, I would say longer outdated options go a long way. Hopefully, you have a weekly expected move as well, right? 2-hour divergence is there, right? You have this. If you have a monthly move and a weekly move, that would help you out a lot in making a decision here. Right? You could say, hey, by the end of the month, we're up here right now, but there's my monthly. I don't have a monthly expected move for this, but maybe the other monthly was, well, where did this take place? This was January 25, going into February. So most likely you're not at a monthly expected move. But if you were, you would say, okay, this would be a good trade to say, okay, there's 2-hour divergence. If that confirms, we are likely to gravitate to the middle of that zone or even the downside by the end of the month. The only really, really bad signal that I really see here and why I wouldn't be like investing in Netflix is just because now you have 2-hour divergence and daily divergence at the same time. Like showing on your MACD, showing on your RSI very clearly. This is why I like divergences that actually show, not necessarily rejection ones. I like it to be very clear. This looks clear now if the daily would cross. My feedback on AMD was you have great daily signals, right? You have great daily signals. You've been beat up for a long time. And if the market wasn't in the state it's in, I personally would say, hey, I'm probably willing to invest in that for like 2 months. I don't think I'm willing to take a trade, like a option trade. But for, say, a couple of months, it looks like it should experience some kind of weekly uptrend for a moment. That's about it for AMD though. Like, it has decent signals that say, oh, this could end up in the upward direction. It's just the state of the market right now is leaning me towards, do I really want to be investing big numbers into anything right now? Boeing, we haven't looked at Boeing in a minute here. We were talking about some things in the past on the weekly chart, I believe, for that to curl up. Ended up happening. Okay, cool. We're going positive now. That's a good thing. I mean, you're at the area where you really do want to see that kind of scoop up. You reacted to potentially these levels, right? You reacted to these levels. I think you might have more work to be done here, right? I think you might have more work to be done because you haven't seen that full reaction to like 190, right? You're a little bit below that, but you can make that right shoulder a little early or just consolidate early to break through this. So if you just break through, you're probably looking for a quick retest or this thing to just go, honestly. I mean, it already kind of did that little scoop down to go lower, even with this. So if it scoops down to go lower and just crosses through, that can be a good thing. I just think you'd want to see some kind of pullback first, and then earnings will be around the corner. But yeah, I don't hate the signals whatsoever. Did the monthly curl up yet? No, not yet. Once the monthly curls up, you're going, hey, this looks like an investment. And Boeing is different from AMD, right? Boeing has government contract. Boeing has a lot of things. Boeing has a lot of things going on. Is there going to be some kind of war with these potential negotiations or something like that? It's like, okay, Boeing will benefit from that in some way. So if this curls up on the monthly, you technically have a higher low. You're closer to the center line. I got to charge my mouse for a sec, so you might see some bad clicking. So just be aware if that monthly curls up, it's saying, hey, that could potentially be good. Always know how to manage risk, though, just in case something goes wrong. Sorry, I'm just not, my mouse is, it died. I forgot to charge it. I'm gonna charge it for like 5 minutes here. That's usually all it needs. And then I'll go look at Palantir. Just ask me like 5 minutes. Let's just look at the SPY for a second here, but ask me in a second. So give it like 5 minutes and then I'll start looking around again. Maybe I can look over on other charts for the time being. Some stuff going on. HYG trying to bounce up. Dollar trying to curl back down possibly. PCC still at 0.69 while the dollar is up. So we do have some trap activity there. DIA reacting up to that upside expected move. Not quite yet. But retesting those highs, a little right shoulder would be great. What was someone asked about Palantir? Well, Palantir just had earnings, so you're just looking for some kind of 30-minute pullback. And you got the 30-minute pullback, and then you saw that strongly confirm. Right? This is a positive thing. If it can break out, I can see another upside move. Right? Earnings is when you have high potential to break through weekly expected moves, and even monthly expected moves sometimes. But if that holds or sees pullbacks and you see 2-hour divergence pop up, that's where you'd pay attention for Palantir, I think. But just looking for 30-minute retest of the 5 right now. Get this off of my chart. Like, get this off of my chart. Why do I have Bollinger Bands on these charts right now? It's pissing me off. There we go. Yeah, so we reacted very, very slightly down and sideways, and that 5 is starting to catch up. Bull trap on Palantir? It could be. Easily could be. I mean, Palantir is held up a lot by retail. It's those heavy retail stocks that I'm like, oof, let's look at Palantir options too. Let's see what people were at for today. For this week. Slightly edged to the call side, max pain 89, call wall at 110. So maybe 110 is the biggest call wall. Maybe that's where I pay attention to it. Sorry, I'm clicking over on my other charts just so you're aware. Yeah, so you got like 4 points, 3.5 points until 110. It is a slow one. Yeah, it's a grind. It is a grind right now. Exactly, martial law. That's kind of why the course is set up to be like, hey, learn how to trade in those extremely volatile times, and trading in non-volatile times is just like, hey, look for a pullback. All right, cool, it pulled back. Look for a pullback to the weekly expected move. Okay, it did. Okay, awesome. Cost is unstoppable. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Let's go check. See, here's the thing, right? What did we just say about something like Tesla? Costco is, and this is, I have no political stance, right? This is just about stocks, but we have to take into consideration politicians and what they like to do. Well, why would Costco potentially continue to go up? Oh, they're one of the only stores still holding all of their DEI practices. Okay, well, politicians on a certain side probably really like that, and I bet it's on both sides that are benefiting from it. So it goes, okay, they want Costco to look really, really good. But overall, Costco is doing good things. You know, you wouldn't say they're doing like bad business. I think that eventually that's going to collapse because I don't think people are going to be able to afford, once they go to $30 wages, I don't think they're going to be able to afford the $55 per membership. I think it's going to have to go up to $65. MSTR missed bad. Meta about to hit the weekly expected move. Awesome. We like to see it. Yeah, that's not looking very great for MSTR. Curling back down on the 2-hour chart. I think this has enough charge in it. Let me see if this thing will work. Okay. As far as it goes for MSTR, let's go take a peek over at that real quick. I was looking at it already. The thing that I noticed is the failure, and you're starting to go negative. So you see how this is what you want to be seeing as well. Once you start to test that 5 and you fail, and you start to go negative, right? That's the exact point you start to go negative, is like right when you start to fail this 5 retest, you go negative. Okay, then that continues to the downside. What's that allowing to happen, and why is that sketchier now? Well, that's sketchier because you have the 2-hour that's actually crossing here. That's a bad thing. Now, we can still get rid of that signal. Has this 2-hour crossed fully? You have an hour and 15 minutes left. You can see a blip where it's down once and then up the next. So I'd be still watching my 30-minute chart for now and going, hey, maybe if I want to take a short position, the 2 hours crossing, okay. But if that 30-minute curls back up, I got to know that is completely contradictory to my trade. There is potentially, I don't know if you want to count like a head and shoulders in any type of way. I don't think it's that. I think it's more just like, do you see it break through, curl up and break through 351 and hold that level? Right? Does this curl up? Do we exceed this? Do we exceed this? Do we exceed this? That's what I'm looking for MSTR to go back to the bull side. As of right now, the 2 hour is saying that it's bad, right? No, I'm burping again. Oh, awesome. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. And if you had one, someone else had one, I think. Oh, no, we looked at Palantir a little bit, though. It's funny, people are funding their own doom with Palantir. It kind of seems like that at this point. I mean, even Jim Cramer is saying buy Palantir right now, so take it with a grain of salt, but he's not incorrect right now, but usually he's right for a week or two and then very wrong for 6 months. Something here. A lot of divergence here. Okay, there's a lot of divergence going on down here, kind of flat initially. Now it is up, and now it is up. Okay, that is a rejection one here. Can this turn around the 2 hours? What you're looking for. From this, you have to realize where Celsius is at. And what you can do is just look at your MACD and go, do I see divergence? Well, no. Do I see it on my RSI? Well, no. So I should be aware that this just violated divergence. It's very deep on the MACD, and so another curl down would be necessary most likely in this area. Whether that's a strong move, right? Strong move that takes you positive, then you curl down and higher low becomes more probable, or whether that's lackluster and you drop down again and make a floor, right? There's no floor here for CL or for Celsius on the 2 hour, suggesting this has to be a big move. This is just a floor potentially showing its face for a bounce from the 30-minute divergences, which means this 2 hour bounce could be lackluster in some way because of how deep it is. Now, if that's going to be very positive, it would say, okay, then I'm going to get that dip down, see that left head, right shoulder, and that'd be good. But that's how this thing ends up back in the upward direction, in my opinion. Dave's saying the quiet part out loud, just recession's around the corner. Yeah, it's around the corner, but if you're a trader, you know, if you're trading options especially, it's like you have to have some form of timing and just paying attention to when those signals show that recession hitting is most probable. I think you do have that moment. I'm not disagreeing with you, Dave. You have a lot of signals here that are suggesting this could be a major top right now. What if all this is just building and confusing and building and building and building, and then we see boom, right? It can happen. We'll watch. Right? We could just see this again and then see that curl up. Like it's just paying attention to what's going on right now and waiting for those signals to prove. You haven't seen that proof from the SPY. You kind of got the proof for a moment there for the Qs, but it was just while it was on an uptick, kind of on positive bars. They were still closes below the 9, so treat them seriously. But yeah, Monumental, thank you so much. $19.99 from Monumental. Thank you so much for looking at that with me. Thank you for bringing up Celsius. Yeah, I just want to keep a level head about it. That's all. I still think that an upward move that creates those divergences again in March seems like a good scenario to me. That's the one I'm still leaning towards. But a lot can happen until then. And thank you so much again, Monumental, for that. Hopefully you enjoyed the Celsius info there. Mainly just like, hey, it's made a base on the 30-minute. Can it make a base on the 2 hour? And then 2 hour, I'm more confident in. But yeah, I think something like, I think 620 is very possible. I think 630 is very possible. I just think there needs to be one more very bullish trap. We can't sit in this fear and neutral, fear and neutral, fear and neutral for a long ass time and then see a crash. I think you're more likely to see like fear, neutral, let's wipe that out and see some bullishness come in, go into a little bit of greed, if not extreme greed, when people aren't expecting it, and then boom, we see some downsides. Just people are too eager to buy puts right now when they see a big drop. Just note that the data too, the data tomorrow, I'm gonna double check, but the data tomorrow does come out. Yeah, I'm just double checking just in case, but the data tomorrow does come out before the market opens, which means, you know, they're potentially going to gap the market in one direction with that kind of info. It's a big data point. Unemployment and non-farm payrolls. People really pay attention to that. What's Wolfie Boy up to? You finally gonna do something good, Wolfie Boy? What you doing? He's like, nothing, chilling at the Holiday Inn. You actually have divergence there too. I'm down, Wolfie Boy. Go for a little jog, you know what I'm saying? Go for a little jog, buddy. I don't need you to go for a run. Go for just a little jog. Get up to $8. Have some fun with it. Come on, make my fun account positive. Oh, God. Jobless claims are higher than expected today. So the smart people might start to be like, okay, jobless claims, they're increasing. What's unemployment going to read at tomorrow? If that's bad, people are going to start to think weakness in economy. And what does that mean? Ooh, that means that the rates might come down. That means maybe the bond push those rates down actually by buying into the bond market. That means what for stocks? Well, they might think that growth is a risky thing, and so they might get out of a lot of growth stocks. What's holding up the market? The top 10 stocks? Well, pretty much they're growth stocks. I mean, so. We'll see. We can make all the scenarios in the world before, but until you actually see it proven in the price action, nothing's happening. It's still bullish at this moment. You don't see any red on that histogram right now, do you? I don't see any red down here. Hasn't curled down yet. We're seeing the warning signs, right, from the dollar. We're seeing some warning signs with how bullish people are getting. But volatility is starting to wipe out stuff again, right? It's like not even, it's about to violate the divergence again, which means more upside could be potential here. So we just need to see it proven. Yeah, it's great monumental. It's actually very good. That's why I was happy to look at it for a solid amount of time there. I really like the look of it because it does that. It shows you how there's 30-minute signals, but how do we read into it past that? Is a 30-minute signal enough to really whip us all the way around? It is if the 2-hour produces, right? The 2-hour has to produce that good upside. You have to see buyers stepping in to push it to higher levels, and then you look for that higher low to hold up to then push you to even higher levels, right? Those people who are skeptical about the low, if they see a higher low, they're less skeptical, and then they might push the stock even higher. That's great. But you see how if you wanted to make a floor and cause some kind of trap in CLH or CELH Celsius before, then a 2-hour divergence looks great. Meta gets past its weekly, yes. So now's where you seriously be paying attention and you go, okay, now if that 30-minute drops down, this is potentially a trade setup now. All of this happened. Now, if this turns back down, it's kind of a bad thing. GME finally showing positivity. Remember, this is at a weekly expected move. 30-minute divergence is there. Is it on the RSI? Yes, it is. Okay, awesome. Now what? Well, this 30-minute signal could turn up the 2-hour. What's the 2-hour look like? No divergence there really on the RSI. Seeing it on the MACD a little bit here, right? This is one that violated, though, on the RSI. So we still might need a better floor here. Now, one thing that's interesting is if you want a big move from GameStop, you're a little bit less likely to see that on a Friday. So this is interesting, and so we want to be aware of little dips down. Now, I would also say that if you want to see that good move, well, usually it's going to happen most likely on a Monday or Tuesday. They don't want it to happen around a Friday, right? So if they're going to cover, they're going to try to do it probably not around an expiration. So I'd be watching this Monday, Tuesday. If we see good signals here going into Monday, Tuesday, there's always a shot, right? Short Fridays. So we'll see. But right now, the recipe for success, you don't have it. You have a 30-minute that's trying to cross up. It's still negative. You have a 2-hour that hasn't crossed up. That's negative. You have a daily that's not crossed up, and that's negative. So this is the exact bad recipe. You need those things to start to prove. Maybe on the shorter time frames first, and then see a good daily upward move. Yeah, spot or IWM anywhere above that 229, it's going to be a problem. Ooh, DIA. Okay, this is actually a good thing for it if it can hold up. Bad thing if it causes some big volatility to come in. So I'll keep my eye on DIA on my other screen. Also, I'm going to zoom out on this a bit so you can see weekly and daily expected moves. Every time, yeah, it's just that hard resistance there. That's why I'm saying, Eden, like, wouldn't it be nice for that to scoop back down, right? Give us that right shoulder. Hold on, someone asked about something. Honeywell. Let's go check this out. Don't be a terrible price. Whoa! Well, that's a bad earnings. That's all, right? you gap down with earnings. That's it. 50-50 flip. That's an easy one. Earnings, you decide to play it. Hey, you're assuming the risk. The risk is 50-50. You have zero edge. You can use technicals to convince yourself you do. Yeesh. I just saw a doctor post that 99% of GME calls are expiring tomorrow, out of the money, worthless. True. A lot of people were targeting the February 7th expiration. We can check on that data, right? Because it's going to be right here. So I will check on that for you right now. Let's check on it. Okay, GME for this week. You have 146,000 total open interest. You have a put call ratio of 0.1735. So 146.4. Next week you have 63.1, so not a lot going on. And these are actually lower numbers than we see, and maybe this is why GME has such low implied volatility. A lot less going into the 14th. The 21st, you actually have more than the 14th on the 21st. So a lot of people with about 149,000 on the 21st, which is actually more than this week. More than this week. Interesting. So as far as expiration goes, you're looking at 146 this week, and then you have a kind of a weird week next week, and then the week after that, you have even more than the 7th, right? So the 21st is bigger than the 7th. The 14th is very small at 63,000. End of the month. End of the month is the weakest at 30.5K. 99% of GME calls are expiring tomorrow out of the money. Let's look at that as well. Sorry, I don't think I even tackled that at all. Well, let's see, where's the price right now for GME? 25.27. So yes, that is correct. You only have, and the puts are going to expire as well. So you only have, out of that 146, you have like, well, let's see, 10% is 14, so 1% is 1,464. 1,400. So you have about 2% in the money as of now. As far as the call side goes, you have like 2% that would expire in the money. Yeah, okay, cool. Sanctions on oil. Oh God, oil. That is not liking that news so far. I have 4 chats running. That's dope. Yeah, so GME, we're just looking for what's interesting is the fact that the implied vol is so low. And look at that thing running. That's great. This is what you want to see, right? Everyone talked badly about this here, and I'm like, it is bad, right? I'm telling you it is bad. I'm saying that. But I'm also saying the percentages here. We have something on Patreon that has a specific thing right here. It's one of these purple lines, right? You're at the opposite end right now. And so you have a 64% chance to see a bounce. You have a 32% chance to see something crazy, which would be a big-ass drop. Right now, you're seeing the bounce side, so the bigger percentage is happening. And you do have 30-minute divergence here. So we'll see if this produces positivity for a longer period of time. Right, we got to watch this by the end of the day. One thing that was interesting was gold, right? Gold still seeing more and more upside. Most likely really liking the fact that the dollar's been backing off pretty dramatically. So gold liking that. I don't know. I'm kind of nervous about holding gold in these areas, though. We do have GLD daily, or I'm sorry, we have GLD weekly expected moves, and daily expected moves will come out tonight, just so you're aware, Patreon members. XLF financials. Financials, great move up, but when you see these great moves up, all of a sudden you're just going, okay, but this could easily be a what? A trap, right? And you have daily divergence here as well. I mean, this is really telling us, like, we could see one more upward move. This is a risky time. It's crazy that it's February. I really thought we would kind of blow through February, see some kind of dip, and then bounce up, and then go to all-time highs again. But I think we got to be aware of this. I think you seriously got to take into consideration if this 2-hour crosses, the daily could cross, and you could see a major top for XLF. That's just, it's what you have to be doing right now. Trading like water is the best way to be as of now. Having that plan, having those scenarios, but then taking into consideration like the favorite scenario that you have might not play out, and you might see a confirmation of a different one, and you need to be ready to react. There's been an uptrend for the past 5 days. Sold some JPM calls this morning. How is are doing good run in financials? We talk about MSOS. No, we haven't. Let's go look at the weeds. Good. I want to see that 30-minute pullback to retest 360 if you can hold up well, if not the 5-day, which is great because you'd go back into these wicks. If you can prove the retest, that's a great thing. But remember, the daily chart is just saying, hey, I'm rejecting, I'm turning up. Like this is a good thing. And now over time, you're most likely to try to react to something like $4, $4.10. And then that's when you want to see this, because then you'll have that good dip down for buyers to reach in at those lower prices. And if big buyers can step in there, Ooh, you're going to potentially 483 or even breaking through that and potentially even going for gap fill later on. Like this could actually be a very good trade in my opinion. You just got to make sure everything's going right? If this 2 hour crosses, it's pretty up there. You have a bunch of 2 hour divergence, right? So it's pretty up there. I think you're still just looking for this thing to maybe pull back on the 2 hour or 30 minute. It's going sideways right now for the most part. Meta's 30 minute is curling up. Meta's 30 minute is curling up, right? It is curled up, right? You are curled up. But this is where the setup actually is. So this is what I'm looking to react to. Because I don't care about these. I don't care about these because they're not close to the center line. Now we're close to the center line. So if I make that divergence really close to the center line and I have a weekly expected move, ooh, now I actually have the setup. What was I waiting for? I'm looking for that other reason, right? That weekly expected move. I'm looking for that other reason. Now I'm waiting for this reason. Now I'm waiting for this reason to turn down, right? Maybe I'll even take one early. I don't know. I'm pretty good at managing my risk. Maybe I'll look at a 15 minute and say, hey, if that one reacts down, I'll make a decision here. You know, there's little things like that that I do because I'm very confident in managing my risk. And I hold myself accountable. I go, if I take a loss, it's going to be on me because I decided to take something early. I'm going to wait. I think Meta has a good chance of a good pullback. Like a sizable one. Like 40 points. So I'm going to chill. Meta at the weekly move on the page. Exactly. This is the other reason, right? We look for those 5 reasons. So the question with Meta wasn't, does it have divergence? That's not the question to ask when I take a trade. The question to ask is, do I have 5 reasons right here? Do I have 5 reasons right here? No. I know this is squeezing. Okay, I want that closer to the center line. Okay, now I have my reason. Maybe I could take a starter position and take another one, right? That's overall what I did. Then we see, okay, weekly expected move. Okay, well, here we go. At least we tagged weekly expected move. I had a reason. Now I have an even better reason. I'm getting potential divergence at the weekly expected move. If this drops down, that would be the best time for this to experience a big daily or bigger 2 hour pullback. Cost is running. Ooh, I was looking at this yesterday, Short Fridays. I genuinely was. I was looking at cost yesterday. And I was going, if I could get a retest of that 5, I'd be happy. If we could get a daily cross up, I'll be happy. You've lost the 200. That's unfortunate. You're pretty deep into negative territory. How deep in? It wasn't negative the last time. Maybe you're in this point right here. But you don't have that divergence. You see the divergence, then the pop, then the dip down, simple swing trade, boom. You see the confirmations all in here. You even got that to confirm before the big move. It's good stuff, but you're very negative right now, and that's a big problem. That means there could be a lot of time here still to work things out. But hey, daily curls up, 2 hour curls up, 30 minute curls up. There's a chance. And GME looks in a better spot than this, right? AMC is not in a good spot. Cost isn't really in a good spot on the daily time frame, but GME is in a better spot because it's not like super deep. It's deep, so you want to pay attention to a lower high. But still, it's not deep enough for me to be like, oh yeah, this is garbage. This is awful, right? This is more like, okay, I really got to watch for a lower high. You know, cost is like, I really got to watch for a lower high. But GME is like, watch for a lower high, but it doesn't really have to, right? It's kind of like, it leans a little percentage-wise towards a lower high. But if it gets some big buyers to step in now, implied volatility so low that I would hope that something just like, if a big buyer steps in, awesome. That's how I would put it. It's all right, Short Fridays. It's all right. It did have that little floor there, though. You saw that good spike for a couple of days. So you're technically still okay, you know? I think so. I think they're routing a lot of things to dark pools now, which is... Why did we even make that instrument? If you're going to do something, do it in front of everyone. It's just a way to hide your shit. I think that's so silly. Hey, half the people, we're gonna hide your trades from everyone. Like, that's pretty much what's happening now. Looking at the Peloton chart, and I thought it was cost. Hey, that's okay, but I was looking at cost yesterday. It's just so silly. No, it seriously is. It's so dumb. It's very dumb. Hi, everyone's trading based off of like what other people are willing to pay for certain assets. So we need to bounce off each other and figure out where that consensus is so I can make a decision. Okay, we're gonna hide 50% of that from you for a while. Hi, we're gonna hide 50% of that for a while. That's like right now. I want you to understand what that is. That's like right now, what if behind the scenes you're paying say $7 for a 12-pack of eggs, for a dozen of eggs, but behind the table other people are buying it for maybe higher prices. Under the table, people are buying it for $4. Would you think that's good? Like, that's blatantly bad. Have my trader exchanged on the dark. Always get shitty fills. Yeah, that's unfortunate. It's just so silly. Would you just look at it? I'm just talking about it and try to put it into real life terms. It is like other people are getting other things, right? You're seeing, why is the price of eggs going up? I don't see any of the demand. Well, that's because they're not showing you 50% of the buy orders for eggs, right? What if that was the scenario? That's what's happening in the market, and I don't think it's a good thing. I think if you're going to trade stocks and you're going to buy assets, you shouldn't necessarily be scared of other people seeing your buy affect the chart. Found what? John Player Special? Trade sold on the dark. Here you go. I'll show you. There's the chart. All right, I just pulled it up. It's all over Twitter. I don't have to do it. I just clicked on the first guy that posted it. I just typed dark pool 51 because I knew it was at 51%. The yellow line is off exchange. The black line is on exchange. So this means that futures are more important. This is why you're seeing so many gaps. You're seeing tons of gaps. Like, you wonder why you're seeing tons of gaps everywhere. Well, it's because, you know, potentially things are being delayed. Which means, no, there is, so right now you have less transparency than transparency. You have more hiding than you do transparency. That's what that chart really means. Like, so it means you kind of got to pay attention to futures more. Who the heck is Reese Politics? Wall Street has a real problem on their hands with the record amount of trades being routed via dark pool in recent months. So far, January, a record 51.8% of trades have been labeled as off-exchange, aka routed via dark pools. This will be the 5th month in a row of record dark pool usage. The current framework of dark pool activity only benefits institutions. Now, I don't know who this guy is, but I'd agree with that statement. Oh, he's a GME guy. This is a big paragraph. He's got GME in here. Hey, am I politics? Am I following this guy? Oh, sick. Okay, cool. Maybe it's one of those GME people. Under new leadership, the SEC must address this issue and put in reforms so that the true price discovery for okay, he is a GME guy for sure. Yeah, when you start seeing that being said, you're like, that's a GME guy. Apparently I follow him. Hey, that's cool. Got it. Yeah, John, I just wanted, I think it's important for people to see. And if you're trading, say, options and things like that, that means, like, your decision making, like, it immediately means to me, I have to pay attention to futures. And 2, it means to me, I might have to assume a little bit more risk. I'm not getting all the price action, so I'm immediately assuming more risk. Mr. Pickle's like, I have zero risk-free money buying SPY and QQQ dips. Zero risk-free money by SPY and QQQ dips. Well, yeah, until that's a bigger dip, and then you could say, hey, if you're just someone who holds it for a long time, Mr. Pickle, that's fine. It's just, you know, have you ever heard of that pretty much like time where it took 10 years for the SPY to get back where people bought at the top? But you're probably buying over years and years. Like, I'm not saying what you're doing. Like, that's probably what people say is the easiest way to do it. If you believe in American companies, then just invest in American companies, pretty much, you know? I'm never going to say someone just, you know, taking their monthly check and using, say, 20% of that to buy stock every month and not look at charts at all is like a bad thing. I don't think that's bad. I just think if you're a little bit aware of like, hey, look at the scenario we're in now. Okay, I could potentially take my risk out of the market on the monthly scale, see it dip way down, and then buy at any price I want that's lower than that. You're just getting a better price for that buy at that moment. I don't think it's bad. You don't even have to time it. You really don't even have to time it. Like genuinely, if you're buying every single month and then you see a chart like this and then you just think, okay, I'm just gonna stop for a little bit, and then you see a price here, you'd go, okay, that would be better than the times you bought up here. That's all I'm saying, right? And you don't even have to look at charts. You don't have to wait for the swing up. You can just make that decision. It's your money. It's your money and you need it now. But yeah, I'm not gonna say that's like a bad thing. I just think you can be, there's always a way to be more efficient, but if you're someone who works all the time, that's what you've done forever, and it's working for you, that's great. But I would just say, if you had a 401k, I would expect that to maybe be cut in by like 30% sometime in the next 5 years, and be willing to be like, okay, I hope this isn't a lost decade and it's worse than that. Right, if I'm close to retirement, which that's a big problem too. It's a lot of the money that's held by boomers right now. They're all going retirement. They're all potentially even going towards what? There's a lot of old people that hold on to stock right now. What happens when they pass? You know, what's their plans with that? What do their kids do with that? If all those kids who get that money start to sell that out and try to become a day trader, shit. Don't time the market, but find your window. That's kind of what I'm saying, right? I can buy every single month with my check, but I can also understand, okay, this is the highest up the monthly MACD's ever been. Maybe I wait for a 20% pullback or some kind of corrective move for 15%, and I'll just, you know, save up for 4 months and then see a 15% correction. I get a little bit better price. It's very micro stuff at the end if you're buying every single month, but the weird thing I saw was from the dollar. This was weird. Did you guys see this? This spike didn't pop up intraday. This spike did not pop up anywhere. And one time I just hit reload on my charts and this spike in the dollar happened. I thought that was really weird. Really weird. Really weird. So you don't see it on shorter time frames either. Oh wait, do you? Am I crazy? Oh, I guess technically maybe you did. Ha! Never mind, I'm blatantly wrong. I just thought that was funky looking at the time. I think I reloaded and then it all loaded back up, but I remember at the time when I clicked on it, it wasn't showing on the shorter time frames. Then I reloaded. Damn. I was like, I'm a detective for a second, then I was just like, fudge, I just messed that one up. Oh, goodness. You watch four traps. IWM, ugh, I don't like that bar right now. I guess if you did like that bar, you'd be a little cuckoo. Cuckoo, cuckoo. SoFi not able to confirm the upside there. Another downside move. Richard, oh my goodness, Richard. Hold on. Hey, that meta thing looking pretty nice. Gotta keep a constant screen up on Dixie at the moment. It's true. I was able to obtain funds through the meta trade. Tell the wife I say happy birthday. Hey, I will tell her happy birthday for you. I will maybe take her a little bit shopping with that, right? Have some fun with her. Hey, thank you so much, Richard. Seriously, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being our Schnookie of the chat. I really appreciate you being here, and I will make sure that she sees your happy birthday. She's probably already hearing me talk about it and going into the chat and seeing it herself. So thank you so much. She will have a great weekend, and she's been something about being a mom. I feel like she doesn't have time to go shop for herself and do things for herself. She's always doing things for baby girl and for me. So it'll be nice this weekend. And that's why I'm taking some time off to really show my appreciation for her. And it's nice to see it from you guys as well. So thank you so much, Richard, for that. I appreciate it. Our little Schnooky. Okay, but right as Richard does that, I really want to give him the respect he deserves. I really do, because that is so awesome. And thank you, thank you, thank you. My wife appreciates it. Danny, thank you for subscribing. But I think we need to pay attention to this. Remember Meta? Patreon members, you got that purple line on your screen. I'm looking at it on my other screen and I'm like, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Now I just need that little confirmation down. That tiny little confirmation down. Please do it, you know? Okay, good. Richard's laughing. What's your take on the large move in the ES? I just wanted to show this off. This is a 30-minute divergence by the weekly while it's close to the center line. This is a good moment. Now, you have to understand, this can fail. This is, overall, you're seeing buyers keep touching, like saving this thing over and over and over again. So just be aware that this can fail. It hasn't even confirmed yet, but I like this. Horseback riding. I actually want to do that because we have nice horseback riding nearby. What was I going to look at? It was someone said it. Luke was it? ES, the ES. I mean, the ES, you're seeing a similar scenario, right? And you see that from the 2-hour chart. You're seeing what would be something that would be all right here. Well, if that 2-hour crossed down and crossed right back up, the only thing you're worried about is, what if this is a lower high again, right? You've had a high, a low, a lower high, a lower low. If that's a lower high, then that would say a lower low is likely. So this is where we'd actually pay attention to a 4-hour chart. If the 4-hour chart is able to roll here, it's pretty significant in saying, yes, I am an overall lower high. Now, when we're looking at the ES, notice that this is a futures thing, right? This is futures. So what do we notice from connecting the dots here? Well, if we exclude that wick, actually, that's very interesting. If you exclude the wick, you're coming right to that point right now. So we'll exclude that for now, but I'm going to see what lines up the best, right? I want to see what lines up with the lows. Now, if that's able to cancel out, I actually don't mind this. I kind of like this. Overall, you're still potentially flagging. So even if you see some kind of massive drop like this, it still might be in a flag, and you might see a 4-hour divergence on the ES. What does that mean? That means watch out for 6,300 or 6,200. Right? That means maybe watch out for this. Right? Especially if we, even from here, we can measure that out, 6,300. Even if we pull it down a little bit, maybe to all the way down here, that's still 6,200 to 6,300. So that's what I'd be looking at for the risk to the downside. But for now, if the 2-hour curls down and the 2-hour curls back up, good things. 2-hour curls down, 2-hour curls back up, right? Retest in here. That's great. 2-hour curl down, 2-hour curl up. Just stay positive the whole time. So now you're kind of aware of how this thing would like to go up right now, how it would like to go down if it wants to reach down further, and make sure you're holding these. And then if that reversal signal prints, you still might end up towards 6,200. Luke 3-minute chart, really large candle on the 3-minute chart. For what? For what, William? For what? No, it really can't. It keeps struggling short Fridays above that 229, right? One of our lines that we like there. 229.89, 230 pretty much, but 229.89, very good level to pay attention to. I'd still look if this makes that right shoulder, but getting excited. You don't like excited. Excited can invite some bigger drops, but the 30 minutes still positive. Crazy for Palantir. It's crazy, right? I mean, people call Palantir a meme stock too. Thought that was interesting. Very large candle on the 3-minute for the ES. Yeah, I don't do 3-minute charts on the ES. You notice I just don't. I won't even look at that. But I will maybe look at the ES for a certain signal that's confirming with that price action included, right? With that price action in there, that's probably good to look at the ES. So we might start doing some analysis on the ES in our videos. We might have to. Maybe at the end of every video during the main takeaway, we're going to say, hey, here's the main takeaway for the SPY. Let's look into the ES to see if any of that holds true for the ES, right? Maybe we'll do that. Those E-mini futures. Yeah, IWM struggling there. 30-minute pullback, still, I would say, the most probable thing here. And same thing goes for the ES. I think 2-hour pullback, most probable thing. It's either continues and then pulls back or pulls back soon. If we experience a big drop, we're aware of how that would happen. Now, Meta, you just need to confirm this bad boy, all right? Just confirm it for us, just real quick. Give us a little confirmation. Something that we'll be reporting after hours today. Amazon. Tomorrow could be confusing because if Amazon does really good earnings and then people have a bad reaction to the data, yeah, tomorrow can be interesting. Not exactly. Not exactly. No. The SPX, actually, weirdly enough, the SPX has, what is it? It's got like a little bit more price action in it, I think, too. A lot of people call the SPY like the cash account. But I'd have to, I mean, honestly, I'd have to look just to see. I just treat them both kind of individually, but related. Let's see what we come up with here. Yeah, so your SPX is, yeah, this is what we thought. So SPX is the basic, like, the actual performance, like the benchmark performance. So your SPX is like your actual value, if you will, right? And the SPY is kind of what people trade based on the SPX. So you're going to see slight discrepancies, but in my history of looking at the SPX or looking at SPX 500 and looking back at the SPY, SPX, you will still see gaps in it and stuff. So it will track SPY very, very closely. Now you will notice, I think it has like an extra little bar, like 15-minute bar or something at the end of the day. But overall, you're just looking at, okay, this is the actual value of the S&P 500. This is the thing that people trade based on the S&P 500 is how I read into it. Yeah, I just wanted to like make sure that I was clarifying it by looking something up real quick. That way I make sure like, hey, okay, I'm clarifying like what my thinking is pretty on par with it, but there could be other things going on, but it's just more so, hey, that's the actual value. The SPY, usually it's like, so usually it's this too. You'll see SPX like higher, like during an uptrend, you'll see it higher, like more value. During a downtrend, you could see it lower. So I'm talking about like, notice it says 606, but the SPY says 604. Okay, so when it's in an uptrend or when it's going up, you can sometimes see it higher. When it's going down dramatically, you can sometimes see it lower. So they stay within range though. Are the Qs curling up now too? The Qs have already curled up. The Qs curled up. They said, hey, this is a higher low. We even got that little turn down on the MACD to really say like, this is the test of the 5. We head to the upside. It's just not the best buying pressure still, in my opinion. I don't think this is the best buying pressure. I think you're seeing another moment like this. And we don't... Okay, here's what you're seeing, I think. And this is just my thought and why I think we still have to be aware of this dipping down again. It's just because of this. This buying pressure led to that. This buying pressure led to that. This buying pressure led to that still, even after the squeeze. But at least down here, we had people very, very bearish, and then we saw the squeeze. We don't really see that as much here. We don't see as much as here over here. So this tells me this buying pressure fell. This buying pressure is in that same length. I mean, like if I just go like this, and then I do this, and I pull this line over from the low to the high, I mean, you're riding that wave. You're riding that wave a little bit. Right? So this tells me the buying here, I don't think is very good. So I should be aware if something turns down, but it doesn't mean it has to be bad, right? We see bad buying pressure all the time. Bad buying pressure all the time. But it needs to prove itself with a 30-minute higher low. It needs to prove itself by making a stronger base. And I think that's just all I'm reading into right now. If the 30-minute can pull back and turn back up, I'm perfectly happy with that buying pressure at that moment, because we proved like, hey, yeah, we dipped down and we curled back up. Money coming out of Meta going into NVIDIA. Yeah, looking for that kind of rotation. I don't think you've had any money really come out of Meta. But maybe these sell orders are say smart money getting out of Meta and buying into NVIDIA, right? Maybe all of these little moments are, you know, those smart money trying to get out of this because it's going too high, and then they're going to switch over into NVIDIA. And this is where we were talking about the, you know, is Meta warning that something bad is about to happen, or is it just going to get a rotation where this goes down and like NVIDIA goes up? Or are we going to see this go down and then NVIDIA goes down and then the SPY and the Qs start going down too? So it's kind of like, is Meta a warning here? Or is Meta just saying like, I'm going to pull back and people are going to rotate out of me into something else? Do I know what is, I don't know his average price. I can probably try to find out real quick. Let's see if I can find it here. Let's see, GameStop position on paper. So June 6th. Okay, June 6th, it looks like price paid looks like 21.27. 21.27 is what I see. And then another thing at $27. So somewhere between 21 and 27 is probably where his range is there, so you're aware. That's what it seems like. According to the, I'm just looking at his, I'm pretty much looking at Roaring Kitty Tracker to see what his position was back in 2024 when he released that position at this moment. And it showed the price paid 21.274, and the option that he took was 27.02 is the last price he got for that. So you'd say it's probably somewhere between 21 and 27. I'm out to lunch. Richard, thank you again. I'll tell wifey, and she'll make me say thank you a million times. But thank you, and I hope you have a great lunch. He did, it was like 23. That would make sense. Yeah, somewhere between 21 and 27. Yeah, she's going to be like, you thank him. You thank him. And you thank him in Spanish, too. Muchas gracias, mi amigo. Yo quiero taco. Spanish is so fun. I'm going to learn it over the next, like, year. That'd be so fun. Surprise my wife for her next birthday. Lucas, do you know what we're in? Okay, good. We already got to that short Friday. Sorry about that. Apple not looking too good. Let's go check on Apple. Apple is a problem, right? Because could this just be a flag? Look at the buying pressure again of this. It's not good. You didn't get that moment. NVIDIA got the moment, right? NVIDIA looked not very good, got that gap up, got the moment. That's awesome. Apple didn't, man. Apple did not. Apple is not getting that yet. You need to see one of those moments, right? If this just crosses, hey, congratulations, look at an hourly chart, look how that's close to the center line, dipping down, maybe an hourly divergence, but this thing could be lower. I'll be a buyer just at 229.45 in case it breaks that recent trendline resistance. Yeah, for IWM, I just think there's a lot of risks anywhere up here, and what I would like to see is that break that and retest, like I was talking about. That's a good way to go higher, because if you just see a big move and then that retest fails, that's going to be a problem. I really would like to see this, though. This is like the best case, I think, for IWM to head to the upside very strong. Is you dip back down into these areas, right? You test that breakout, you test in this area here as support came in, right? We have gaps in that area. There's a lot going on. You have previous resistance in that area. I think it would be fantastic to see a 30-minute curl down and just curl back up. Maybe it's going to be wonky like over here, but I kind of like that. On an earnings swing trade, hey H, at least you made something back, you know, at least you made that 3K. At least the next trade was a good one, right? Let's try to stay in that positive trend, right? Our mental needs to be positive. I don't want to think I want to make my, I want to think I want to have a good trade. I want to have a good trade. I'm going to have a good trade. I'm going to wait for a good trade, right? I'm going to wait for a good opportunity. And then the money will come. If you wait for good opportunities, you look for good opportunity, good opportunity, good opportunity, not trying to chase money, make good opportunity or take good opportunities, make money in the end. But I like it, H, okay? Building back, all right. And we learned something. That's always good too, right? You're saying, hey, never again. Hey, you learned it. Write it down. Tattoo it on your arm. During earnings season, take a Sharpie, write it on your forearm. Hey, last time you lost $7,000. Right? Take a Sharpie, literally write that on your arm. Your mental will change a lot if you write on your arm and go, hey, the last time I played, put last earnings, I lost 7K all across your arm, and see if your fingers are able to push those buttons again. Find out our stops with algos and gobble them up and then reverse. Your thoughts on this? Oh yeah, I think they do that all the time. They have to risk money to do it, but I think they're very good at doing it. I think it still takes money to do those type of things, but I think they do it. They like, especially as dark pool activity increases, they can do some fishy things more and more and more. So yes, I do think they are known to go snipe your stop loss, or snipe the low, because it's pretty obvious where people would put a stop loss, right? If I'm in a 2-month position for up towards 620. Where's my stop maybe, or most people? Well, it's going to probably be the previous low. So all they'd have to do is shoot down, take out this low. Everyone gets bearish because you just took out their stop and they think you're crashing, and then you turn right back up. Right? Maybe people are being smart and they're moving that stop up as we made a potential, you might say, a little dip down to take back the 5. Maybe it's right here. We just see that flash down and flash back up. Just know this. They're still risking money to do that. And if they make a mistake, I just think they're good at it. But if they make a mistake, yeah, that's going to probably do the opposite reaction they wanted. No. Here's the thing, like, as far as algos go, if you know how the algo is supposed to behave, then you know a lot. And I think we know that algos are built to hurt retail traders, to really rip people up. Retail side for the most part. So I almost want to be making decisions like Wall Street. I almost, in the market, and this mentality has helped me a lot through my trading, is I always, you may have even heard me say it before. I say things like, how could I hurt the most amount of people right now? How could I take away, that's the question I say on stream all the time. I say, how could I take away and trick the most amount of people? How could I take the most amount of money away from people right now? Well, let's see. People were dramatically towards the call side. So what's a few things I could do? Well, I could hold it flat for the day. That would cause both sides to lose. I could, if people get really bullish, I could pull it down for a pullback. And if they get bearish enough down here, well, then I can just snap this thing right back, right? I can get rid of those orders. I can pump in other orders here. So it's more thinking on that side of things. And that's why I encourage people to always pay attention to how they can get screwed, right? Exactly, yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing. It's happening off the hour. Like, that's something that I think has caused me not to take plays a lot lately without even me noticing, right? We've actually had a lot of moments in the last, now that I think about it, the last 6 months, where we said, oh, this is where, and this is the bad part about even management of the trade and why I might have to start, fully putting in those stop losses again and stuff, is because it's quick. And 2, we're seeing a lot of gaps. Like, think back. Like, really look back and be like, okay, we had a gap, like 1, 2, 3 gaps right there. And some of these had gaps in them too, right? But we have a gap right here. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you had 5 with the gap and fill. So you had like 5 gaps in a matter of 21 days. Then you remember all the gaps happening in here. How many gaps happened in here? Holy crap. Like, my goodness. There had to be like 5 in here within 21 days. It's a lot of gaps to deal with. And that messes with management of the trade. That messes with potential for seeing confirmation. So it does make things a little more difficult. It means to me that you most likely are going to assume a little bit more risk. And this is also why I'm glad I've been taking profit quicker when I do make a decision. Yeah, it's not a good scenario for people who are trading during the day. It's really not. That's why I think decisions at the end of the day are probably more important, because at least some bigger volume is coming in at the end of the day. All right, let's go over to here. Let's go to here, click on this. All right, check you out for a sec. Meta starting to see a little bit of that resistance come in. Nothing to worry about at this moment. Sorry. I'm sorry if I sometimes sound like this. Because I've been watching Harry Potter. Mr. Potter. I'm sorry, but Snape's a G. Oh, Pfizer. Yeah, let's go look at Pfizer. PFE. Pfizer, see, like, see, this is gonna be tough because it's tight. You want to say, on one hand, you want to say, oh, we broke through this, and then we went up to here, but we gave it all up. So unless you're able to turn back around and see a strong move, I don't really like that look. I don't like this look on the 2-hour really either. You don't have reversal signals, anything like that. So you're going to need 30-minute lower highs to head up. If this 2 hours is just going to go without making divergence, right? Maybe it's a 2-hour moves and makes a higher low again. But this should have really, if we backed off here instead of going higher, then we should launch ourselves up to 27, then dip down and see this if we're going to continue to be positive. Let's look at daily scale though. Daily wise, you're still looking kind of flaggy. I mean, overall, you're pretty controlled. Okay, awesome. Can we see that curl up? Can we see it break through, get through the 200, maybe go retest something like 28.15? Do I think this is like the easiest thing? No, but if I see a daily curl up, it's closer to taking back the 200. So Amazon calls. You guys are funny. News reverse price direction each day. Have you tried this testing? No, I haven't. No, I haven't. I haven't really seen it. I mean, the times I'm paying more attention are in like the first 2 hours and the last hour. Unless we have data or someone speaking in between there. At least a lot of the time, it's like during the day, you just see like, I don't know, Wall Street go to lunch or something. But if you're noticing something, track it or go back and track it for a while and show me the numbers. I'm down to look at it short Fridays. I wouldn't have the time right now to do that, but yeah, if you want to track it and let me know and then I can look into it, that would be awesome. We can check on Ripple, the Rips. Yeah, we'll do market cap, that's fine. Interesting. We're getting tighter. Solid buyer. Overall, very controlled. Starting to wedge almost with this. It's getting tighter and tighter. I kind of can't say anything terrible here. You're really just trying to confirm some kind of higher low at some point. So you really want to see that take back the 5. You see this? I think a test of this is coming. But right now, everything's pointing down. So I'd have to see that curl up. This is pointing down. That means negativity. But we're very controlled, so there could be a shift soon, right? We've seen that big buyer step in. We've seen those big buys. Okay, can we curl this up and take back the 5, right? The goal here is still take back the 5. Let's see. See, like here, we're not able to take back the 5. We go down. Then you take back the 5. That starts to happen, right? We lose the 5. We retest it. We fail. But we take back the 5. We go up. Oh, we're going to go down. Nope, we take back the 5 again. Upside. So I think the 5 is what I'm really looking for. I'm looking for a 2-hour confirmation up and the 5 to be taken back. 4-hour, you would say a similar thing. 4-hour, really looking okay. I don't think this is like very bullish, right? You want to see this cross that center line, but I think you got to start taking back that 5 to really be confident in it. Yeah, I don't think it's like the worst look because it's so controlled. Which means like buyers and sellers are stepping in, right? There's people trying to sell it, there's people trying to buy it, and you're seeing that very controlled. Caterpillar. Oh yeah, Caterpillar, duh. Good rejection, 30-minute divergence, great tapering as well. Right, see the move coming down. Okay, taper off. Okay, flatten out. All right, take back the 5. This is all pretty good stuff. The only thing is, once we read into this, we go, 2-hour doesn't look like that strong of a floor. I mean, I want you to look at last time. Even when we saw a great move that rejected off the 5, turned back down, and over time you went down to lower levels and created what? 2-hour divergence. Look how it pops up again, right? Then you see the big upward move. Now, you don't have to see that again. You can see a higher low, you can do whatever, but I just want you to see that you're deeper than the last point where you had to make divergence. So I'd be very open to some kind of divergence forming here. Whether that is a move that's pretty controlled sideways and drops, or just one pop that crosses you up and you remain kind of crossed up and do like the last time, right? You do something like that. So I would like a 2-hour divergence. It doesn't mean that it can't build up over time. It just means if Caterpillar is going to build up over time, you got to see 30-minute pullbacks, right? We got to see like a good reaction, like a very, very good reaction to here, then retest the 5, then another good reaction, then retest the breakout area that might be lined up with the 5 coming up. Then you retest that area, you continue up, and then you use the 5 to just ride that wave. So I think you just got to be aware that 2-hour does not have a strong base. Dollar starting to tick down a little bit. PCC still remaining towards the call side. Exchanges are making bank, that's for sure. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Meta looks like it is reaching up for another test of the weekly expected move. Let's see what goes on here. 743, 717. I think it was 7. It was definitely higher. It's like 20 points higher than here is how high Meta could go. Mara has some interesting stuff here. What's Bitcoin doing first? Okay, can the 2-hour confirm up and take back the 5? And then the reason I'm looking at Mara is because of the 30-minute divergence. Right, it's technically from this point right here to here. We see it. We see it. Okay, awesome. Can we take back the 5? A lot of this is take back the 5, man. Curl up 2 hours and take back the 5. Mara as well, like the 2 hours not terribly beat up. You're aware that this in some way, you know, might go make that, but I think you're just looking for, can this 2 hours see that move? Maybe it curls down here. I don't know. There's a lot of ways it could play out, but Mara seems to be really coiled up in this area. Coil, coil, coil. Can we get a good reaction to take us above these highs of about $21? bull trap actually playing out for Palantir? There's your 30-minute divergence. You know, earnings are done. Notice that it was a positive move. What does Palantir need? Needs a 2-hour pullback, that's for sure. The 30-minute here is suggesting if that crosses, you might get that 30-minute or that 2-hour pullback now. Just be aware though, it was a positive move. We could just test that 5 and turn right back up. So this is how you get screwed, right? That turns right back up. If this turns down and goes negative, well then the 2 hour is going to cross down. You might be in pullback mode. You might even go fill that gap. That'd be kind of crazy. Kind of hoping for no island reversal or something. That would be bad for Palantir. That would be futures really hurting some people. That would be that off exchange really beating you up. Don't do it, you'll lose money. You're just buying Pepe. Oh, you guys are funny. All right, I'm gonna actually try to get to the gym today. So, all right, I'll be taking off at this point in the stream. I really do appreciate you guys being here today. I'm gonna try to fit in a little gym sesh real quick. So, looking at the SPY, just paying attention to what's on our charts, really paying attention to, hey, everything looks pretty bullish. We have some warning signs out there that some volatility could kick in. So if we're ready for a trap, we're ready to be wrong here. That's great. Right now, all these signals are saying bull side. This is saying bull side still. We're getting some interesting things from Meta at this point, but right now it's saying bullish, bullish, bullish. If that changes, then we change. Because why? We trade like water on this channel. You know what I'm saying? We trade like water on this channel, meaning we're willing to go wherever. We know that there's some rocks out there that could mess up our stream. So if they're able to mess up our stream and we end up turning in a different way, maybe we need to manage that risk and then see if we can keep flowing in that same direction. But just in case, maybe this leaks up throughout the day and then we have to manage risk later on, watch out, because I do think that something like this is still possible. Is it the most probable? I would say your charts are saying no at this moment. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for saying happy birthday to the wifey. She really appreciated it. And thank you to Richard for the $100 and the other donations coming in today, right? We'll donate all of that towards Mama so she can have a fantastic birthday. And she's loving her new phone, right? Her little Galaxy phone with the stylus. So glad I was able to get that for her. But thank you guys so much for being a part of this community, contributing to the chat, liking, subscribing. You guys are fantastic. I hope that we just remain helpful. There is going to be no live stream tomorrow morning and no video coming out on Saturday for Mama's birthday, unfortunately. But Sunday, we will get you the updated weekly expected moves and daily expected moves for the SPY and the Qs. All right, guys. Hope you guys have a great day. Peace out.